Did you know that for this year's Super Bowl and Super Bowl halftime starring Bad Bunny, Nielsen changed the ways that they rate the ratings for TV and beyond? Oh, they did. And today we'll show you the receipts, we'll give you the details, and tell you why it's true. It turns out massive amounts of people turned off Bad Bunny and left their TVs for something else entirely. Advertisers are raging, the marketers are fuming, and the NFL mad as, well, heck, I say, all because you've come our way and we've got the receipts to bring you the info about the Super Bowl you need to know. It turns out the efforts to propagandize, they die right here on this channel. Folks, as we dive in, click the like button, drop a comment down below, and off we go to reveal what's really going on with Bad Bunny's defeat last Sunday. Can you ever believe Nielsen again? That's the question people are asking because Nielsen changed the way they measure ratings for the Super Bowl. Out of thatparkplace.com, Bad Bunny halftime show record viewership narrative collapses as final Nielsen numbers show year-over-year decline. It says the early media victory lap surrounding the reported record-breaking Bad Bunny halftime show viewership, well, it's fallen apart. In the immediate aftermath of Super Bowl 60, entertainment trades and mainstream press outlets rushed out headlines declaring the performance the most watched halftime show in history. Preliminary projections floated a massive 135.4 million viewers, framing the show as a cultural milestone and a record-shattering success. The problem? They were not accurate. Updated Nielsen reporting shows that Bad Bunny, the halftime show, averaged 128.2 million viewers. While still an enormous television audience by any traditional metric, it falls well short of the early projections that fueled the record-breaking headlines. And hang on, folks, we'll get to what really is going on here. Initial reports also pushed another now debunked talking point that more viewers tuned in for this halftime show than for the game itself. Finalized data shows the opposite. Yeah, places like Variety were in on this as well. You should also know that the Samba stuff, and here's the graph, this is the real problem for them. Samba is looking to be accurate, and we'll explain that in just a minute. Before we do, I've covered this before, we'll do it again for those who are new to this. Nielsen changed the way that they cover ratings. Okay, here is the release from Nielsen. I'll be brief with this, I promise. But it says, an estimated 124.9 million viewers watched Super Bowl 60 on Sunday, February 8th, yada, yada. But here's where it says what you need to know. They changed the game. This is the first Super Bowl to be reported using Nielsen's Big Data Plus panel measurement methodology, which was officially rolled out in September 2025, but it's the first Super Bowl to have it. Big Data Plus panel provides the most accurate TV measurement to date. Okay, here's the problem. If we go down these Super Bowl ratings, none of these other Super Bowls had this new thing they're using. And you say, Pro, what's the new thing they're using? Online impressions and online viewership. How much would Super Bowl 59, what would the ratings have been if they had had that last year? You think people were not using the internet last year? You think we were still on AOL and dial-up? No. Tons of people were online. Not counted. This year counted, and yet still came 3 million below. How many millions is that worth? I don't know, folks, but it's a ton. And if we go all the way down here, they admit it again. They say Super Bowl 60 in 2026 was the first Super Bowl reported using Nielsen's Big Data Plus panel methodology. All prior reporting used Nielsen's panel-only measurement. The first Super Bowl to include out-of-home viewing was back in 2021. Nielsen began including out-of-home viewing in its national TV measurement in September of 2020. As of February 25, Nielsen's out-of-home measurement covers 100% of the U.S. contiguous television population. And what that means is they basically they lump in a number of people that they just assume are out at bars and hospitals and airports. They don't have any way of knowing it. They just lump it in. Samba shows what really went on, though. And folks, I'm going to break this down in high fidelity. You ready? Let me click on this so we can get it as close up as we can of the graph. Let's see. Okay, we got this. Here we go. Folks, here is the graph. I want you to look. Here is the Super Bowl. And you see that dip. That's the halftime show, right? Okay, we've got this broken down into green is Seattle, red is Boston, but gray is everywhere else. We care about the everywhere else because as much as we love Seattle and Boston, boy, those are great cities, eh? The everywhere else is like, what, 99% of the American population? Look at where the gray was. The gray was at 100% as the Super Bowl halftime show started. The gray then dropped all the way down to almost 80%. What do we call it? 85%? That's a 15% drop at the halftime show, and that never, ever, never, ever happens. That never happens. Why? Because what is one of the things that everybody wants to see? The halftime show. And even the people who don't care about football suddenly put down their salsa and chips. The ladies come out from wherever they've been hiding while the guys are sitting there acting like a bunch of yahoos and yahoos. The ladies come in, they're like, let's watch the Super Bowl halftime show together. It's a cultural phenom. Except this year, something completely different happened this year. And what you need to see is that as they dropped 15%, notice that the gray never fully recovered. None of them did, but the gray, which is everywhere except Seattle, Boston, never fully recovered. It came back to about 90%, and then it started dropping. It started dropping. And what that means is that the halftime show didn't do what the halftime show is supposed to do. The halftime show is supposed to skyrocket this thing so that the third quarter and the commercials that happen in the third quarter get all kinds of excitement. The complete opposite happened. Wiz, I go to you first on this one. Did you know that Nielsen changed the rules? Did they change the way they calculate the ratings this year? Did you realize that was in the fine print?
No, but I can't say I'm surprised, because with an event that was this high profile, that was going to have this many people around the world watching and paying attention to this was a big deal. So I'm not surprised that this happened to be the year they changed the metrics that they were going to be reporting on. But everything you just showed here, Pro, with the Samba TV analytics, I mean, that's pretty telling. Even if they were to come back, right? Even for retention's sake, you were to say that people left and then they came back after the show, like, that's really bad. You've lost people. They've tuned out for something very specific for an allotted amount of time, and then they come back. That's possible in YouTube. We see that. We see that in advertising, right? When you run an ad in your videos, some people don't know this. If you run an ad in your videos in the beginning, people they'll just skip ahead, right? In this case, as you were just showing, they left. They lost lots of people here, and they didn't come back. That's pretty bad, which means that these are homes in America and around the world that are whoever's tuned in that Samba's recording, that stopped watching and then found something else or got distracted and went away.
Well, okay, so Wiz, think about this.
Good.
That graph shows that the TPUSA numbers line up, right? So we're looking at what? 10, 15, 20 million people that turned off the Super Bowl for the halftime show. Okay, so that happens, then they never return. Where did they go? They probably went to the TPUSA. And the idea that this didn't have any effect on the NFL, the advertisers have a completely different expectation. By the way, here it is out of that Park Place. How is Nielsen now figuring out the ratings? You might say, how many people are watching TV? You're wrong now. You're wrong now. Nielsen is now doing broadcast audiences, streaming platforms, mobile viewing, out-of-home measurement, and co-viewing estimates, which is where they try to figure out, they guess how many people might be in the same room with you in your home. This is where we are. And because of this desire to save Bad Bunny in the Super Bowl, now maybe Nielsen, because Nielsen has this back area that you pay tons of money for and you get access in high fidelity, and the big companies use that. But in terms of like the average viewer, the average reader, nobody knows what this means anymore because it's not TV. Mike, why did they sacrifice so much? Why were reputations laid out for this Bad Bunny guy? What is it about him that they have to save him?
Reputations? What makes you think that leftists in the media care about reputations? What's the matter with you? So, there you go, applying logic to an emotional group of people. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
There's nothing about this decision to have him as the halftime performer that could have ever gone down or been represented other than anything less than a total success. There's no way.
And here's what they switched to now, Mike. They've switched, instead of ratings, we're at parrot analytics kind of stuff. You remember how the Acolyte came out and they're like, it's the most clicked on X thing that's ever been. I mean, people are really looking at links and posts about it. It's like, yeah, they're mocking it. We're here now because now they've switched from ratings to social media impressions, viral video clips, streaming music boosts, and international engagement. What the heck is engagement? Nobody knows. They're just making it up now. That's where we are. This is how desperate they are.
That's what I want to do this year.
You want to get engaged?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Mike, I cannot live the single Playboy life forever.
And it is hard. It is hard on you. Talking about Samba TV, by the way, the numbers add up for Samba TV. Culture, I'll get you in on this one. Samba had said that 48.6 million U.S. households tuned in. That lines up with Nielsen. I know people don't understand that. We'll explain it right now. 48.6 million U.S. households. there's not one person in a household. Usually it's a higher number of people that are on average inside a household. So 2 to 3x, you're going to start getting towards the Nielsen numbers. But guess what? 26.5 million U.S. households continue to watch the Super Bowl halftime. And that's why, listen, once the Samba and Nielsen numbers line up, once we separate out the nonsense online engagement crap, they're on the money. And so when Samba TV gets that, then we look at the halftime drop off and we say, whoa, wait a minute. This is a huge problem for the NFL.
Yeah. Look, 39% minimum of the audience dropped off when the halftime show kicked off. That's a substantial number. But we haven't gotten to why this is being done and why they went to an outside party to create these halftime shows. It's essentially outsourcing any kind of DEI duties so they can blame Jay-Z and his Rock Nation company for these kinds of problems. And they can, certainly direct, the artists towards the cadre of artists that Rock Nation has access to, which is a big problem. So when I look at this, I think it's even more nefarious than we're even giving it credit for. I think that you're right. Parrot Analytics certainly seems to enter into this, but counting social media engagement isn't necessarily people who are watching any of this. It's just somebody who likes somebody's given tweet about the Super Bowl or the halftime show.
Or they're making fun of it culture.
Yeah, it's nonsense. Yeah. And everybody was making fun of it. And look, the thing that they're more concerned about, and I know we have limited time with Mike, but the thing they should be more concerned about is the advertisers. In what way is this in service of the advertisers if they just had 40% of their audience evaporate?
Yeah, I think this is a crazy situation, the way it's going to play out. But I'm interested to see where it goes next, right? What's the spin going to be? The dust still hasn't quite settled yet. What is the spin on this going to be? And then, Mike, I'm curious to know your thoughts, and Culture, your thoughts as well. Can they survive next year doing something as controversial as what they've done this year? Can they do it again? Can they pull it off again?
Who's going to jail in the music industry for this island stuff? Can they put somebody like that on there? That's about it.
I mean, look, it's the Super Bowl. They can do whatever the heck they want. Let's not. I mean, look, they're. It would have been unconscionable and unthinkable at one point to sing the Black National Anthem first off the bat. It would have been unconscionable to do a halftime show in a language that very few people actually understand. The problem is that America, the very fabric of America, all of its values has been eroded and degraded. From the Walt Disney Company ripping out its ferries and Tom Sawyer Island, and all the way to Spanish to the Super Bowl. America is turning into the homeland of not the great Americana, but it's turning into the new homeland for illegal migrant third world invaders and a lack of morals, a lack of American values, and cultural multiplicity that makes no sense to anybody. This country is no longer cohesive, and anything that has money can do whatever money wants. There was a time where money was a tool to reinforce culture, and now from here on out, money is just a tool to be spent and create short little pockets of dopamine in people's heads. And Democrats love dopamine.
Mike, somewhere, a purple-haired viewer, first-time watcher, just had their mind explode that you are the one saying these things. I know. Bringing the truth, folks. Lauren, guess what? Samba TV, who again, ladies and gentlemen, if you add up their numbers, it's going with the Nielsen stuff minus the online engagement. So that means we think it's accurate. Samba is saying that we're on a 3-year decline, Lauren, in Super Bowl ratings. Usher at 30 million households, talking about the Super Bowl halftime show. Kendrick Lamar, 28.8. Bad Bunny, 26.5. We're dropping. People are turning this off. And if it continues to drop like this, why wouldn't there be more TPUSAs that throw on an alternative?
Well, I think that's the interesting part about this story is that it did show, it's like, I think some people are framing this in the media as TPUSA got stomped, and it's like, of course they did. It's the Super Bowl. They were never going to beat the Super Bowl, but they took a significant portion of the audience, which shows that it's possible. And another interesting part about that to me was I read an article, I don't remember from where, but they were saying that the impressive part of it is that TPUSA only had 5 months to put this together. And if that's the case, and the advertisers have taken notice of how many views that they got, imagine what they can do with a year to prep. And that means that other people can do the same. So in a way, whether you agree with TPUSA's politics or whether you agree with them running a secondary halftime show, I think this actually is a win for everybody because it shows that the market will adjust. And when it does so, that may also impact the rate at which the Super Bowl can charge for their advertising for their halftime show, which may make it more affordable for advertisers to spread the money around, which will also engage multiple different audience segments, which should be ideally what we want. So I'm curious to see how that shakes out next year.
We'll pay attention, folks, but remember, they lied to you. We covered their lies. The next step is, of course, they're going to despise you evermore because you didn't do what they told you you have to do. They always say, if you don't like it, don't watch it. And then they get mad when you don't watch it. Well, we're there again. And folks, we have come to the end yet again. Another video of excellence in the can. What a joy it has been to share time with you. We hope you enjoyed it as well. If so, consider clicking that like button. Share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. And as always, drop a comment down below. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, so waste not yours. Join a community dialogue today, just on down below. Folks, we are going to say farewell for now, but we will see you back for is more. And that's how many videos we put out every single day here on the Pro Channel. Hope you enjoy them all. Until the next time, keep learning, keep growing. And as always, keep having fun.